Now, 20 years ago, Indonesia witnessed its worst terror nightmare. On the 12th of October in 2002, suicide bombers from the Al-Qaeda-linked Southeast Asian Islamic radical group, Jemaah Islamiyah, carried out a wave of violence. They hit an embassy, hotels and restaurants. More than 200 people were killed in the Bali blast, among them many tourists. Two decades later, Indonesia is looking back at the deadly incident. Security is tight in the city as mourners and officials attended a ceremony to mark the blast's anniversary. A ceremony will be held later today to pay respect to the victims. Now, Australia is also marking the 20th anniversary as 88 Australians were among those killed in the blasts. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese led a prayer service in Sydney. He joined the relatives of the victims at the event to pay tribute to those who died.
20 years ago, the shockwaves from Bali reached our shores. 20 years ago, an act of malice and calculated depravity robbed the world of 202 lives, including 88 Australians. 20 years on, the ache does not dim. For most of us, what happened on that fateful night is beyond imagining. The sudden terrible light, followed by the sudden terrible darkness.
For the people who survived the attack, it's a lifetime of trauma. The blasts is a memory etched in their minds, a might that altered their lives altogether.
Jadi jujur pada waktu itu saya mendengar ledakan, saya merasa takut. Melihat api yang besar saya merasa takut. Dan sampai saat ini pun saya masih merasa ketakutan, merasa trauma apabila saya lagi sedang bawa mobil ketemu jalan macet. Nah, pada saat itu, padahal saya sadar ini saya bukan di mana-mana, ini memang di jalan yang memang lagi macet biasa, tapi tiba-tiba aja terlintas.
Now, since the attack, Indonesia ramped up its counter-terrorism efforts. More than 2,300 people have been arrested on terrorism charges. Indonesia also set up a national counter-terrorism unit known as Densus 88 in the wake of the attacks. Ali Imran is the last surviving bomber of the Bali blasts. He was sentenced to a life in prison for his role in the blasts. 20 years on, he expresses regret for the terror attack.
Saya sebagai pelaku utama pengeboman di Bali, saya sesali pada 20 tahun yang lalu, sampai sekarang saya menyesali, dan sampai mati pun nanti akan saya sesali. Kemudian permohonan maaf pun akan saya sampaikan hingga saya mati nanti. Nah, artinya kembali lagi bahwa kalau yang saya rasakan paling membebani pikiran saya, kalau dianggap itu adalah kesedihan, adalah tanggung jawab atau merasa bersalah karena pernah melakukan aksi teror, terutama pengeboman di Bali.
Now, for more on this, we are being joined by Devanti Farid, a journalist from Jakarta. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, my first question to you is, it's been 20 years since the deadliest attack that Indonesia has witnessed in recent times. What is the country feeling today?
Well, Indonesians are commemorating at the Bali bombing memorial in Kuta. There are several events going on in Denpasar, Bali, to commemorate the tragedy. Earlier today, there was an event to commemorate with the Densus 88, or Indonesia's anti-terrorism unit. Doves were released and turtle hatchlings were released at Mengiat Beach. And there's also going to be an event later tonight to also commemorate the tragedy at the Bali bombing memorial, which is located not far away from both the sites of the bomb blasts, which were Sari Club and Paddy's Pub.
Right, now can you talk to us about the counter-terrorism efforts that the government has taken since the attack, and how far has it sought success?
Well, over the past 2 decades, over 2,300 people have been arrested and charged with terrorism acts, and around 228 were arrested last 2020. Last year, it was up to around 370. So the efforts to eradicate terrorism in Indonesia is still an ongoing effort, and the anti-terrorism unit is leading the way. There's a lot of things that have also changed in the past years. There has been reforms at the counterterrorism unit. They say that they've adopted a more humanistic approach when it comes to their de-radicalization program, because it is one of the challenges to be able to change the mindset of the convicted terrorists while they're serving their sentence in prison. But he said that this humanistic approach has had a significant effect in reducing the number of repeat offenders. So this is the way to go, the future of the de-radicalization program.
Exactly, and I was just going to come to that. Indonesia has pushed for major reforms to transform convicts. They say that this will influence others not to commit terrorist act, as you just mentioned. But countries like Australia, which greatly suffered from the attack itself, have expressed strong opposition to this. How do you assess the technique? Do you think this could sort any kind of success?
Well, when it comes to reforms, especially changing the mindset of people, is always hard. But I believe in the reforms that are being laid down by the counterterrorism unit, because it has proven to have reduced the numbers of repeat offenders who are going through the de-radicalization program. And when they are released, the reforms also has asked to have them be guided by the anti-terrorism unit so they can develop and they can build their new lives after prison. And that's a hard thing to do. Whether it's going to be successful in the future, we'll have to see what the results are in the next 5 to 10 years. But so far, it's been showing good results. And I've recently participated in August 17th Independence Day celebration organized by a foundation built by an ex-terrorist convict. And at that event, I saw over 300 ex-terrorists celebrating Independence Day with high-ranking officials of the counterterrorism unit. So it's another way to sort of welcome them back to society. And I think that humanistic approach is needed.
Absolutely. Very interesting points made there. We will leave it to that. Thanks for speaking with us. That was Devanti Farid joining us from Jakarta.